one of Ireland's major airports. Today I'm taking a look at Cork International Airport by Simsoft, a bit of payware scenery that you can pick up from the description. The owner contacted me to give a review of this airport, but it's always my own opinion. If you're new around here, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, but now let's hop into this review. So Cork Airport is the second busiest airport in Ireland, handling just over 2.5 million in 2019, of course, before the pandemic. As a major hub for Ryanair, it's also served quite often by Aer Lingus. But is this bit of scenery worth it? You can pick it up for €8.50 on flightsim.com, which is around $10 US. Or £7 UK. Let's talk about the good bits now. So the highlight of this product is definitely the main terminal. Comparing it to the default Microsoft Flight Simulator terminal, well, it actually looks like the airport in real life. It's one of the few payware and freeware airports where the glass does not look glitchy. I can see through it properly and there's no lighting bugs. There's even a bit of a reflection on there that I think works off pretty nicely. As you can see, there's also an interior, but it's really nothing to shout about. I feel like if you're going to do the interior, you might as well add a bit of stuff into here. Just putting chairs down isn't really going to make it. I'd like to see some textures on the floor and walls at the very least. And an entrance to the jetway would be nice. I mean, it's this kind of thing. I respect that the developer has tried to do it, but if you're not going to do it right, I wouldn't bother. Moving to the front of the airport terminal, it looks pretty similar to real life on Google Images anyway, but it's missing a lot of detail. I feel like the wrong textures have been applied there really. Those bricks do look massive. Just really, I'd like to see a bit of road, a bit of lighting and a bit of hustle and bustle going on out there. It does feel a bit unfinished here. Same with the roof of the terminal. I'd like to see a bit more on here. They've done a pretty good job at modelling the actual curve, which can be quite difficult to do, I imagine. But put some details on their air conditioning units. It would just make it look a lot more realistic. Swapping over to night, you can see they've modelled night lighting at the front of the terminal pretty well. They've dimmed the lights inside the terminal building. It's not just completely bright out there. So night lighting on the terminal is pretty well done. You can see inside the front of the terminal. Once again, it's missing out a lot of stuff, and I think basically you either should have put loads of stuff in here, made it look nice, or not really bothered. I can see why they've done it, but I just don't think it cuts it. It looks a bit better at the back here now. I mean, the light does bring something to it, so I think this is acceptable in the back here. Looking over to the ramps, you can see we've got default jetways kind of blended into some custom-made walkways. We are lacking a bit of detail on the ramp, but it's not the worst thing I've seen. We have a few objects placed down, from some stairs to a van to, of course, the gate sign. As far as I know, the majority of these are default props. Except for this one, I've never seen it before. Moving down to the further side of the terminal, you can see we've got a few more details here, but it's really nothing to shout about. It feels a bit too clean for my liking. I'd like to see a bit more dirt, a bit more detailing. Moving around here, we've got what appears to be a technical services and cargo hub. We've got some sort of tower there, although that's not the real tower. I believe this could be the ground tower. The main tower is located basically directly opposite that, although sadly that hasn't been modelled, which is a massive disappointment to be honest. Once again, looks like we're using default Asobo buildings here. Credit is deserved. They've completely remodelled all the taxiway signs, meaning this is VATSIM compatible. It might not look the best, but if you need to follow the real taxiways, they've been implemented, the signs have been corrected. Fully ILS compatible as well. Everything works as it should do on the technical side. You can see in the background there, we've got the tower, although it would appear it's a default Microsoft Flight Simulator model. Swapping back over to daytime and just looking around the perimeter of the airport, you can see we're pretty lacking in terms of fences and props and details. A pretty common theme here. This is kind of the general aviation area, I believe. We could have just had some static aircraft put down there, but we seem to be missing out. In addition to that, there's places for cars to go. We're just left with the ground imagery of the cars. In addition, we've got the fire training area around here, and you can see it's just been left in the ground. There's no props. So what do I think of this airport? Well, if you live in Cork, then this airport is for you. If you fly here quite often and you use it on VATSIM, it's got all the correct runways, the correct taxiways, and it looks decent. It doesn't look horrible. I wouldn't say it's been badly done, there's just a lot of things missing. I don't know if it's worth the money, unless you live there. If you live here, then it's probably a must-have. But aside from that, I don't really see a place for it. Now, Simsoft, he did contact me. He seemed like a very nice guy. And he has said it's his second airport, so I guess I've got to let him have some credit there. But at the end of the day, he is charging people for it. I would say, if you live in the area, as I've already said, I'd recommend it. But at the end of the day, as people are paying for it, I'd expect a little bit more. When we've got awesome freeware products, like the Stansted and Gatwick scenery, just to name a few, then it does make me think a lot. Of course, the developer has spent a lot of time, effort, and probably money into this project, and it does have its place. But it just hasn't got enough stuff for me to say that it's completely awesome. It's got some good things. The terminal building is pretty well done, night lighting is very good, and of course taxiways and runways being redone makes it VATSIM and IVAO compatible. But it misses out a lot of stuff, especially the little details. I'd really like to see a modelled control tower, a bit more going on at the front, and an improved interior. If you're going to do an interior, finish it. That's my view anyway. You guys might disagree. Thank you for the developer for providing me with a copy to review. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would recommend getting this product if you live in the area. There was a freeware Cork version, but it wasn't very good and was causing loads of crashes. The performance with this airport is very good, doesn't impact my FPS at all, but there's not too much going on, so I wouldn't expect anything less. But tell me what you guys think. Do you think it's worth it? Will you be buying this airport? It's available from the description. Anyway guys, from me today that is all. Thank you to my first class channel members. Thank you to Jesse Wiseman, Ethan Bebeck, Simon Schmidt, and Captain Matt Russell. You guys really helped me out. In addition to that, I'm running a charity fundraiser. I'll be going for a skydive for the first time, raising money for 2 incredible charities. I'd really like some help. We've got some incredible donations already, and 100% of the donations will go to these charities. I'm paying for all the expenses, such as the skydive. Anyway guys, from me today, that is all. Bye bye.